Hello everyone, Mike Kane from Kane Trial Law in Castle Rock, and today's video is going to discuss what qualifies as a severe personal injury case in Colorado. Because unlike in criminal law cases where there's an actual definition of serious bodily injury, in civil cases, and specifically in civil personal injury cases in Colorado, there's no hard and fast definition of what it means to have a severe injury case. So this video will go through and talk about, in my experience, what I believe qualifies as a severe or a serious injury case, and use what Colorado has defined for us in the criminal code as an illustration or to kind of help with that definition. So like I said, in criminal cases, there's an actual definition, and it's called serious bodily injury, or SBI is what the criminal practitioners call it. And essentially what it means is it elevates the severity of the charges. And so it could bring a case from a misdemeanor to a felony, or make it a more serious felony or misdemeanor charge. And it has to be signed off by the treating medical provider, and the treating medical provider needs to state that the injuries either caused a risk of death or a possibility of death, organ failure or permanent physical disfigurement, or things like fractures or second or third degree burns. And if the victim has injuries that qualify under any of those categories, the treating doctor can sign a form that says, yes, the victim suffered serious bodily injury due to whatever crime was committed against them. But in civil law, like I said, we don't have a definition for us to use in personal injury cases to say whether or not this is a severe personal injury case. And so based on my experience, it's a little similar to what you see in criminal cases. And for those individuals who have been hurt and they've had a hospitalization, where they had to stay in the hospital for a number of days, individuals who have had broken bones or surgical fractures, obviously people that have had second or third degree burns and were treated in the intensive care unit. In my experience, those sort of injuries qualify as a severe personal injury case. But what about head injuries, traumatic brain injuries, significant concussions that result in ongoing migraine headaches, or changes to the person's mood and demeanor and cognitive ability? What about post-traumatic stress? In the criminal code, there's no definition, or within the serious bodily injury categories, it doesn't contemplate those sort of injuries. But in civil practice, if someone has a mild traumatic brain injury, and in our experience there's nothing mild about any brain injuries, but if someone does have what the doctors say is a mild traumatic brain injury, and they have ongoing effects of that brain injury that'll either last years or the rest of their life, then in our opinion that qualifies as a severe personal injury. Same thing with post-traumatic stress, specifically when the individual has severe emotional distress that requires ongoing therapy and counseling and has made a significant disruption in their lives and how they interact with their family and their friends and their coworkers, and how they're able to go about regular activities. For example, someone who is in a horrific car crash and may not have significant physical injuries, but has severe stress disorders related to that crash. And if it's affecting them in how they are living their lives and they require significant mental health treatment, that qualifies, in my opinion, as a severe personal injury. Things like, what you hear called whiplash or muscle strains and sprains, things that can be taken care of with relatively few medical appointments. Maybe an urgent care visit, maybe some physical therapy, maybe some chiropractic or massage therapy care, and then the person is, back to doing everything that they were doing before within a few months. Those people still absolutely deserve compensation for their injuries, but those would not qualify, in my opinion, as a severe injury case. And so just to recap, anyone who has been injured and has had a long hospitalization stay, fractures, broken bones that require surgery, obviously significant burns, stays in the ICU, or emotional trauma that is long-lasting and requires ongoing mental health treatment, in my opinion, those sort of injuries do qualify as a severe personal injury in Colorado. If you have any questions, or if you or a family member is going through an injury case, please feel free to reach out to us, Kane Trial Law in Castle Rock, at 303-919-7777.